In 1963, a young aeronautical engineer, George Linder, met a young boat racer, Rich Lures. Those two had parallel careers for the next few years. George developing V-bottom hulls around the Eltro racing team, and Rich racing both Eltros and finally Mercury tunnel boats on the Canadian Mercury team. But they stayed together in terms of development, and they continued to push the envelope in everything they did. The result? Well, here's the story.
Right out of the box at Lake X, it ran 103 miles an hour 2 weeks ago, and we feel like right now it's the fastest boat in offshore racing, any class.
Check another one of the cylinders.
So we decided that we'd just pull the boat in and call it a day.
Is this the same problem you had this morning?
Yeah, it is. We brought the boat in after the first race. We were in the lead for about a mile or two and pulled about a 3/4 mile lead, and then the same problem started. We brought the boat in, changed the ignition coils between races, went back out, but the problem persisted and continued, so we decided to call it a day and not blow the engines.
George took some of their early V-bottom designs from the Eltro boats and made the Challenger and then the Shadow 21. This is the boat that put Linder on the map.
Watch it there. That's a handful. She's only 21 feet long, and 85 miles an hour is a lot for a V-bottom. That's that good George Linder design. Same fellow that designed the Shadow Cat. Excellent little boat. Gonna cross the wake. He is. He's staying right in there.
Following the success of that 21-footer with non-constant V technology and a pad bottom to boot, Lures and Linder got together and combined their talents and experience in this, the 30-foot Shadow Cat. It boasted ram wing technology and multi-dihedral sponsons. The result was the fastest boat in Lake X the first time out. This boat was a barn burner. Great in rough water and fast in calm water. It ran with the other boats in its class with twin engines while they sported triples. And it laid down the gauntlet to the V-bottoms as no other hull ever had. Here in its early racing experience, in the S-class running against full-fledged fuel-injected inboards, this boat, the S351 Shadow Cat, wound up being the top qualifier in the first round of the World Championships at Key West. Designed originally for outboard motors, the boat really strutted and got out there with a top speed easily 5 to 8 miles an hour faster than anything else in the class. Remember, this was a time of aluminum small blocks, and it was only a matter of time before they wound up in the Shadow Cat. And that led to this boat, the world record-breaking, national and world champion, Lovett.
Chuck Jepson from Miami doing the driving. On the throttles, we've got Dave Gilmore, and navigating Mike Kellerer. These guys are all co-owners in this boat.
And hot on the heels of Lovett in the P class was the twin and then triple engine Black Duck of Pete Aiken and Tom Akhoury. Black Duck wound up being the winningest boat in the history of offshore racing, winning multiple world and national championships over a 20-year racing career.
The two 30-foot Shadow Cats, Shadow Marine. Going for the money. Black Duck took a second in Stroh's up in Detroit for 300 points. And these Shadow Cats are racking up the points like crazy at the end of the season here.
The Erickson Special, the first attempt at putting big blocks in a Shadow Cat.
91 miles an hour, Bobby Erickson.
It proved that power paid off, but it also proved that this hull was just a little too narrow for the big, heavy, big block engines.
Racing Team. 90 miles an hour running on the North Lake to Long Branch. They got a sizable lead on all the sport boats. And they're not backing down for anybody. They're letting it all hang out.
And then there was El Boss. This boat turned all of offshore racing on its ear. It set records in every race basically that it was in, and it showed the world just how fast a cat could go in any water conditions. This sport boat wound up turning lap speeds and straightaway speeds faster, considerably faster, than the open class cats of the day. Willie Diaz knew how to run a cat, and he showed the rest of the world what it took to fly.
There's Willie Diaz and nobody else. When it comes to excitement and quick reflexes, there's Willie Diaz and nobody else. The boat, 30-foot Shadow Cat, the fastest Shadow Cat ever built. It has been clocked at 118 miles an hour. Right, he's literally on top of the reef. I don't know what he's doing. God bless you, Willie, don't hit this reef. Don't back off now, Willie. You've got 6 inches of water under you. He's on the reef, right on top of it. Any one of these waves and he can hit bottom. It's amazing. Willie Diaz, another miracle. He rode right over the top of the reef. And he pulled himself a 1/4 mile lead with that stunt. He's holding her right at 100 miles an hour. Willie Diaz, he said that if they were going to beat him, they were going to have to catch him. He's not backing off. He told us he'd run 106. We're indicating 100 to 105. He's right on schedule. God, he sets a torrid pace. Nobody else can stay at this speed, and yet he's about 15 miles an hour below his maximum. And look at the ride he's getting. They're sitting down. They get a little airborne. He makes an adjustment, brings it right back in, and boogies along in 100 plus.
I've run out of adjectives. I watched this man race today. We got you at between 100 and 110 miles an hour for entire stretches between checkpoints. I've never seen anything like it. World champion again. He goes so fast, it's incredible. He makes a habit out of it. Willie, what are you going to do now?
I don't know what is there to gain. You know, what kind of title? I don't know. I guess that's it. This is what you do all year just to get here. And I was qualified from last year, so I don't know if I'll be running next year in the circuit, but I will be here for the World Championship. I might just take it easy, and I might throttle for somebody else. I don't know. If I don't, I'll bring my own equipment, but most likely I'll probably be throttling for somebody else.
Willie, I think the sport needs you. We were up there watching everybody else run, and it seemed like there were 2 races going on. There were the boats that everybody else drives, and there was you. You were in a different class, a different speed range, a whole different world. Do you find yourself just pushing to the maximum all the time?
I push to kill. That's the only way to race. I don't come here, like I said before, I don't come here for the hell of it. I come here to win. And number 2 ain't good enough for me. I don't come in like number 2. I come in number 1. That's it. That's the only way to go, and that's the only way I know how to run. The only thing in life is to win. You know, whatever you do, you try to be the best. And I've proven that I'm one of the best throttlmen. Myself, I know I'm the best throttlman. I don't know how other people catalyze me, but I feel I am.
Pete Aikens, Tom McCory, look at the checkered flags on the side of the boat. National champion 1983, national champion 1982. What else can you say? Dominance and professionalism and speed. Black Duck Racing Team. Okay, here it is, special edition, a 30-foot Shadow Cat driven by John D'Elia and Jack Ray. They're running right now in about 5th position. Look very strong at the moment. His boat is powered by number 3 Mercruiser Speedmasters, 450 horsepower engines,
It's capable of speeds of 90 miles an hour. He's running very well, pacing the boat through the early stages. Okay, you can see in the background, squared up, triple engine outboard. That's George. Yeah, that's George Frogner and squared up. He's going on some drag race right now with Special Edition.
John Emmons, Town & Country Chevrolet, second place in P-Class. Got a significant lead over the rest of the fleet coming into that rough water that we've seen everybody else get their baptism in today. Right now, John's about a half to a quarter of a mile behind the Black Duck of Pete Aiken. Just biding his time. Look at this thing launch. They look like they're having some problems out here. This water is rougher than we thought it would be. There's quite a swell out here. And no one has been able to negotiate it in a way I would consider comfortably.
By 1983, the Shadow Cats were the state of the art in offshore racing.
Very rough water.
The point that had been made was that the Cats were not only faster in calm water, now they were faster in rough water.
Dominic and Paul Palumbi in there, and they're doing a super job today. As I said, they have got the speed in P-Class. They've just passed Omar Lescaray in the Captain America, and they're moving up on the Agitator. I did not see that boat earlier, so Agitator was the leader, but the water package is about to overtake the Agitator and take the lead in the Pro Stock class. They're getting a very comfortable ride down there. They really have water package dialed in today. He's hopping a bit, but he looks comfortable to me. The Captain America is leaping around quite a bit more in these seas, so the setup in the water package right now and the trim is really the ticket in these seas. They're really running smooth. I can't emphasize that enough, and it's paying off because their average speed now is quite a bit higher than the other guys in the class. Really running nice is Dominic Palumbi. And she is the current Pro Stock world record holder at 101 miles an hour. So when you can run fast in calm water in the kilo, then come out in seas like this and be competitive, you really have your stuff together.
Not every Shadow Cat was as well balanced and fast as every other one. This ill-fated twin V8 OMC powered Shadow Cat led to a quick repowering by the Duntemans. The boat was completely out of balance and really didn't perform well until they repowered with triple Mercuries.
Yeah, those Evolution Johnsons are gigantic motors. And they're moving around quite a bit on that transom. Yeah. Wow, what a beating they're taking. Those engines are somewhat heavier than the Mercuries. And even though Alan's been running 3 Mercuries, it looks like that the boat just seems to be heavier in the stern with those Johnsons back there. Surprising ride. Yeah, they are putting on quite a show. That boat has always been a fairly stable and calm boat, too. And they're getting the wildest ride through here of anybody. The horsepower right now he's displaying is pretty strong as he hits 100 miles an hour. Coming into the northeast turn.
Shadows were carving a name for themselves not only on the national circuit, but in the regional races as well.
Now we're going. They just opened this baby up. He's showing a real good turn of speed. Going as fast as anything in the race right now. Aero Express.
Who's your competition today?
Well, we have some pretty stiff competition today. We have Terminator, we have Mad Mac, and those two guys really fly. We have Phoenix, Superboat, really a fast boat. We have a lot of competition, but I think we're going to do real well on it.
All right, if any boat can do it, this one can. It's the old Lovett, which was the first boat to break 100 miles an hour at Lake X.
110 miles an hour, not too shabby. The old war horse has still got plenty left in her. Chuck and Jason New in Insanity, a brand new boat this year, got a little bit bigger. They were constantly being overmatched in their 24-foot skater. Now they've got a 30-foot Shadow Cat. Pro Marine Racing prepared Mercury-powered P24. And right now I believe they're in second place in Pro Stock. They're not doing half bad. Running very consistently. The Shadows provided a very dependable, consistent, and fast racing platform. If you wanted to be competitive in the early 80s, you needed a Shadow. They were getting a much calmer ride this year than they got last year. They really pushed the boat. See the effect that the seas have on the boat. The seas are coming from the look out, just about to say from the port or left side of the boat, the side closest to you in your living rooms, and it's just about wanting to roll them over. Catamarans don't like to run on one hull. And we'll be right back.
If it happens offshore, you'll find it online at offshoreonly.com. Log on 24/7 for the latest in powerboating news. View pictures from the country's top events. Get great deals in the classifieds. And Offshore Only is fully interactive, so you can chat with over 17,000 powerboaters worldwide. If you're not at the race, you need to be here. Offshoreonly.com.
No one delivers the thrill of performance like Powerboat, the world's leading performance boating magazine. Powerboat is packed with information no enthusiast can be without. From the latest boats and equipment to unparalleled racing coverage, Powerboat is the authority on performance boating. Get Powerboat delivered to your home each month for only $29 a year, a 50% savings off the newsstand price. Order now and get this Powerboat t-shirt free. Have your credit card ready and call 1-800-738-5571 before the next issue of Powerboat races by.
Max in that beautiful 30-foot Cris Cat, powered by twin 700 horsepower Mercruiser fuel-injected engines and the new Mercury surface drives. They've had an
George Linder took the Shadow Cat design and expanded it. The Shadow Cat's admitted weakness with big block power was solved when he redid the sponson design, changed the shape of the pad a little bit, and came up with the incomparable Cris Cat. At 30 feet, with big block power, it was unsurpassed. The Shadows tended to be faster with outboard and small block power, but nothing could catch the Cris Cat with big block, big power, even in the open class, as this Maxon showed, the Maxon 23 of Tim Chisuli.
Beautifully prepared, maintained boat.
And then Linder and Lures got the final ingredient, an ingredient that was destined for greatness. the Jesse James team, Mark and Cris Lavin, the legendary team that raised the bar yet again in offshore catamaran racing. These two brothers really turned the world on its ear. They showed talent, drive, determination, and coordination unparalleled up to that point. Two brothers, they thought together, they raced together, and they knew what each other was thinking in the best and worst of times. It was a short-lived partnership, but one of the most wonderful moments in offshore racing.
The world's fastest modified class boat, the Jesse James. Beautiful 30-foot Cris Cat powered by Merc Cruiser. 372 cubic inch engines, number 4 Mercury drives, immaculate preparation for every race. And the record proves it. 7 out of 10 national champions, world champions. You just can't beat this team. They are the most consistent and dedicated hard driving team we have on the circuit right now.
We're coming into that very rough leg again. And now we're going to see an Indian put the hatchet down. Don Pruitt, Phil Malillo in the Cris Cat Airborne are going to go into some very rough rollers in just a second. And they are within sight of the lead boat. As a matter of fact, they're only a few feet behind the lead boat, just waiting to make their move.
Even the legends in offshore racing got into the act. Here's Billy Don Pruitt in his prime, throttling the Airborne.
Whoa! Trying to find the proper line going around the spectator fleet. It's difficult out here. The spectator fleet is apparently moving towards the Long Island shore, and that's what's making the navigating so difficult. Now we're going to turn into the wind, and then the fun's going to begin. All right, Smokey and the Bandit in the lead, P31. Rob Weinstein at the wheel, Kurt Berger at the throttles, and our navigator today is Steve Berger. Giving us the thumbs up sign. Kurt's Marine Competition Center prepared Smokey and the Bandit, owned by Mike Weinstein and his son Rob. They're cutting their teeth this year in racing, and they're cutting them fairly sharply, it appears. Right now they hold a substantial lead. They're getting into the back of the modified fleet, and we're only halfway through the first lap. We're showing a speed right now of about 90 miles an hour, and that's not too shabby.
Long before there was a motley crew, there was Smokey and the Bandit. Kurt Berger enjoyed enormous success with this hull.
Well-equipped crew, the best of everything. Mike Weinstein and his son go first class. And right now they've got about a half-mile lead on the second-place boats. And those guys were losing their transoms the last time we saw them. So right now it appears that the strategy of using an inboard in P-class is working out here in the Northport 200.
The Cris Cats and the Shadow Cats together enjoyed enormous dominance in the P classes, in the outboard powered classes. Everywhere you looked, there was a Linder designed Cris Cat or Shadow Cat in the production classes.
Holding down second place in the performance class, also has a very loose transom. I don't know what's happening today, but I've never seen engines rock around like what's going on back there. There's a lot of flexibility in those gill brackets, though. Perhaps it's just that. Thriller's giving us the go sign. They want this race. He said he was due. 30-foot Cris Cat. Rio Boat Company, North Miami Beach. He's going to lose his transom before this day is over. I wish these guys luck. I don't know what it is about this water, but it really is hell on these transoms out here. Anyway, P77, she's a 30-foot Cris Cat, as I said, rigged in Lake X. She's got 4 2.4 Mercury outboard motors on the back, and she's capable of speeds like most of the P-Cats are this year, in the low to mid-90s.
It was only when the boats slowed down in these seas that you got some idea of how big they were. This is the CL4 American Express George Baxter. It is extremely rough out here. The waves have climbed. We're going into the wind. We're going back down on the... Whoa! Keep the bow down, fellas. We're going back down to the southbound leg. The water's getting rougher by the minute. Yeah, they can turn around and see what's behind them. Fairly smooth, and there goes the horsepower up. It's starting to eat now. Boy, just as we talked, he put the power down. Brought her right up to 100. Whoa, look at American Express go. Whoa, don't lose her. Don't lose her. This boat is very, very potent. They've done a lot of work over the winter. Ironed out a minor steering bug that they had. As you can see, Gino looks quite comfortable in there. He's not fighting the wheel like he did a few times last year. He's just pointing to where he wants her to go, and he's holding on to a smooth second place right now, keeping the Murphy and Stocker at bay right over his left shoulder. Gino loves this NPBA racing, and he wants to race APBA too. And I think he's got a good point. This is a pretty safe boat. It's sturdy and stable boat. George Linder had put a beautiful forward entry section on the Shadows and Cris Cats, a trait that they both shared. This gave tremendous confidence to the drivers, and the number of teams using the hull expanded continuously. There was tremendous confidence in the cockpit that these boats could take whatever Mother Nature could dish out. Finally, some of the more radical people in racing put more and more power into the hulls. This Cris Cat has been the 4-engine boat to beat and was the first 4-engine outboard on the offshore racing circuit. You see the kind of torque and horsepower being transmitted to that transom back there on Terminator. Okay, the boat. It's going to be pretty choppy today, Nick. What do you think of your chances?
I don't really think it's going to be too choppy. It's pretty flat out there, so I think it's going to be a drag race. We don't have that much wind, so we'll give it our best shot. You know, got Mario working on the motors now, and everything seems to be going good. Boat seems to be holding together.
The crew today?
Mario Delamonte, crew chief and driver. Navigator is Bill Pfeiffer, and I'm on the throttles.
Throttles. Now, there's 4 engines on that boat.
Yeah, 4.
Can you fit one more?
Yeah. I like to put 2 more if I could.
And next year, will we see 2 more?
I think we're going to see inboards next year, I think. I hope. Sell this boat and get some inboards.
How do you like the season so far in the USPBA?
It's good. Good racing. Good racing. The people are nice. It's pretty organized, right? Everything goes off pretty smooth, so I like it. We're having a good time.
Okay, we've liked watching you, and you've given us a good time for a long time. The Terminator racing team is really exciting to watch. Plenty of outboard motors, plenty of speed. Good luck, fellas.
Thank you. Thanks.
It's always flat where Nick Casul is racing.
Yeah, Mario Delamonte in there doing a terrific job. He's the crew chief, and he's made that boat as competitive as it is with a lot of hard work.
An early believer of the design was John D'Elia, who had a lot of foresight. His second boat, this special edition Cris Cat, set the world on its ear. Patterned after the Jesse James of the prior season, this boat was very, very competitive and put John in a position that he followed up with in later years in open class. John D'Elia became one of the icons in the sport.
Nothing but the best for John D'Elia. They've won 4 races so far, 4 or 5. Look out! Whoa! Look at these waves. That's it, Digger. Just like that. Look out! Back and forth. Big, treacherous rollers. Very, very hard to read and harder to span.
It seems like Connecticut's got a lot going modified high points right now. Jesse James retired last year with the national championship, and John D'Elia picked up the banner, and he's now leading the nation in high points himself. John, what's the big difference this year?
Well, I guess the big difference is my new boat. It's a Cris Craft versus my Shadow Cat. It's brand new. My Shadow Cat had a lot of wear and tear on it, and of course we sunk it and crashed it, and I think some of the integrity left the boat. And I think the balance of my Cris Craft is better than the balance of my Shadow Cat, although I did like my Shadow Cat. And the real difference, probably in addition to the new boat, is the Merc Cruiser Power. The guys at Lake X are taking care of me and doing a hell of a job. They build not only a fast boat, but I think the difference is consistency and reliability.
Another new modified Cris crab. Almost identical to Special Edition. In second place is Jack Bishop in the Smiling Jack's Marine entry. 30-foot Cris Cat, also powered by Merc Cruiser small block power. 550 horsepower apiece. Rigged at Lake X and put together with all the good stuff. In the cockpit with Jack Bishop is Danny Salyer on the navigating, and of course the ageless Davey Gilmore on the throttles.
Dave Gilmore followed up his Lovett experience with this Smilin' Jacks.
Summer madness making up a lot of ground into the wind. And what's happening is the wind is so intense, it's about a 15-mile-an-hour wind. At least probably more like 20 as I look at the speedometer both northbound and southbound. So we're looking at about 95 miles an hour in summer madness. But the airspeed is up around 110. Beautiful Cris Cat has had quite a racing career as the instant air freight of Gino Montrone, and now as Summer Madness is proudly leading the race around Barnegat Bay. Mike Monica has run a very smart race so far, a flawless race, letting the early leaders find their way through these first problematical checkpoints, and taking a much nicer curve through the turns and the lead boat, taking advantage of Extractor's navigation to cut some of the corners and cut down the distance.
The hallmark of this design was consistency and predictability. These boats provided a very, very stable and safe platform for the highest speeds in the sport.
Very conservative throttling, too. A lot of horsepower left in that baby.
It's a tribute to George Linder that these hulls, with dozens of teams, were able to rack up tens of thousands of racing miles and thousands of hours of racing over the roughest seas in safe and stable condition. The boat truly raised the bar in terms of safety and handling in offshore racing.
How's it look today, Joe?
Well, we did real well in Point Pleasant last week, and we were happy with that. And hopefully we can do it again here today if this weather ever clears. We blew an ear off the prop, but up until that time we were doing real well, and we took a second for this first time for this boat to be in a race that placed.
Okay, we haven't seen you for a couple of years. Where you been?
Getting his boat ready. It's 4 years in the making. I got disgusted with it. We put the cover on it for a while, and up until last week at 11:30 at night, the night of the cocktail party, we weren't even going racing. And here we are back again this week trying to do the same thing. So we had a good time last week. We got the old fever back, and we're here to stay.
Okay, here to stay. Will you be making then some of the national races like Atlantic City and Key West?
Yeah, hopefully we're going to go to Massachusetts next week and then on to Atlantic City.
Jim, how's the boat performing for you?
The boat's performing pretty good. We had it tested yesterday, and everything seems to look pretty good today for us. So if this fog lifts, we should do well today.
Coming right at you is a little Rhino. Heading north now is the downwind leg. And they are having just one, what can I say, comfortable ride out here. Beautiful control. The water's very, very calm for 30-foot Cris Cat today. They're not extending the boat too much. We talked to Joe and the crew yesterday. They're just getting her sorted out. Had some good ideas with her. As you see, they're very, very comfortable in there. Joe Calabro in the Benzel Bush-sponsored C5 finish line. Running second place in the C-Class, southbound right off the start. Strong running boat, looking real good. Joey giving us a thumbs up. He's having a ball. Boat looks real strong. He's got a brand new safety system on the boat.
Even as technology improved, safety cockpits were added to the design and only enhanced the already safe and stable nature of the boat.
Very natty looking boat. One of the classiest teams in offshore racing is the Finish Line Racing Team. And it's very fitting that a Mercedes-Benz dealer, the largest in New Jersey, Benzel Bush, has chosen them to carry their banner. Because this is a Mercedes-Benz level racing team. Joey's back from a near-fatal accident and running stronger than ever. The boat looks simply terrific as it powers over these waves.
All right, one of our favorite people has to be Joey Calabro, and he's celebrating a brand new sponsorship with the Finish Line Racing Team. What's going on, Joe?
We just took on Benzel Bush's Mercedes. It could be promising for us if we do a good job here today. Very nice people, good dealership. We're real excited about it.
Okay, that's a big name in Mercedes dealerships around the New Jersey area, I know.
Yes, absolutely. They're supposedly the second biggest in the state.
The boat, how's it running?
Excellent, excellent. Very happy with it. Well, the guys did a lot of work on it, worked hard. Conquest Marine and Larry's Fun Boats and my guys, my crew. Everybody came together and we got the boat done. It looks good. I think it runs good.
You getting used to it?
Yeah, I love it. I love being in those capsules. It really feels good.
Big change.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Flying along here, Ed Riley, Doug Carmen, they're in second place. They haven't missed a beat since the race started. The only boat that's ahead of them has one more motor than they do, and that's Phoenix. They're looking very comfortable in there. They're enjoying their race today. Sitting as low as they can in the boat, keep the wind out of their faces. It can be very wearying on your neck to hold the crash helmet into 100-mile-an-hour wind all day long. They back down a little bit in speed. They've got a very comfortable margin over the third place boat. They can't catch the leader, and nobody can catch them, so they're just going to bring it home. Looks like a second place unless something happens to Phoenix. They've done a terrific job today. This is rough, rough water. Look out! Yes, sir! Offshore racing at its best. Perpendicular to the ground. But they are making a move on Super Hawaii, which is a larger V-bottom. It's costing them to try to do that.
American Express Racing, Jimmy Kazani and Lanny Dellinger are looking forward to a big race today, right, Jim?
Yeah, we're looking forward to a big race. There's a lot of boats here, a lot of competition, and I hope we're ready for them. We're going to give it our best shot.
Lanny, they've kept you on the beach this morning waiting for the weather to lift.
Yeah, it's been tough. You know, you get all worked up to ready to go, and then you don't know if you're going or, you know, what's going to happen. So we're kind of excited about it.
The weather conditions today should be a real challenge for you. You've got some visibility problems, and the seas look like they're a little bit snotty.
We'll have to see when we get out there. You know, we can't tell from the beach once you get out there on that offshore leg. From what I've heard, we got like 2 miles of visibility, so it's going to be tough. You know, just give it our best shot.
All right, and Jimmy, who are the boats you have to beat today?
Well, one of the main competitions, Lethal Weapon. He's always out there. We've got Wild Turkey, and along with about a dozen other D boats. So we're going to try hard and try to stay out in front of everybody.
Try to win one for the team, eh?
Yeah, you know it.
The big problem out here is the fact that every seventh wave, as any seaman will tell you, is going to be larger than the first six. And it's the seventh wave that's launching them.
Okay, Fred Caruso in the Total Yacht Sales and Total Marine Performance Center race team. Now, this son of Frank Caruso, of course, is one of the largest.
The Cris Cat program was very successful, very predictable, and in Lures' mind, a little bit boring. Rich went out and formed Conquest Marine, while George continued to work with Cris Craft, with tremendous success. Conquest was founded to provide one-off, custom laminated designs for offshore racers worldwide. And it was Conquest that allowed the pair to really stretch their muscles.
Rolling Thunder, Jesse James, two George Linder's designs. 30-foot Cris Cat and the M43 Rolling Thunder Conquest 32-footer. Radically outboard powered, and whoa, look at them. They're going out tooth and nail, and Rolling Thunder makes a big move. Definitely has a hailing advantage in these seas. Both of them, though, are going out like a pair of heavyweights.
In big seas, it was unheard of for an outboard-powered craft to stay with an inboard. Not only that, this boat, Rolling Thunder, featured tunnel boat engines. That's right, Champ motors, with small inshore Speedmasters and 11-inch diameter propellers. The result was incredible. The result was revolutionary. The first Conquest, Rolling Thunder.
These outboard engines are 275 horsepower apiece, and they are for real. Neck and neck, these guys are really going after it. Two very, very experienced teams, Cris and Mark Lavin in the Jesse James, and of course the Rolling Thunder team of Vince Rinaldi, Peter Rinaldi, and Smitty, Richard Smith. It's getting rougher. We've just come away from the point of land. The rollers are starting to build up, and these boats are starting to launch. But they're still going at it. Both boats have gotten pretty far up in the air in the last half a mile or so. A little trimming is going on in both boats, I'm sure. And here comes the Rolling Thunder again. This is really something. They have swapped the lead at least 5 times in the last 3 miles. We're really seeing some competition. Rolling Thunder has never really been tested and pressed in rough water in trying to hold the lead. But they're finding out today that she seems to be able to take all this and more. Just kissing off the wave.
Mark Lavin watched this with tremendous interest. He couldn't catch the boat, so at the end of this event he got out and he ordered his own Conquest.
Here comes Max and 23, Cris Cat. Red, white, and blue, All-American, Harry Willman, Tim Chisuli.
At the same time that Lures and Linder were building the Conquests, they were also doing development work for other manufacturers. Here is a boat that almost became the 37-foot Cris Cat. All of these boats were built with tremendous craftsmanship by a genius down in South Carolina named Kenny Adams.
In the 2 Seahawks. Who will it be? Who's got the early speed?
Lures and Linder were now experimenting with different numbers of steps on sponsons, hydrodynamic lift, aerodynamic lift, balance points, and a number of other characteristics. Much of what they tried was working.
Let's do it. Let's get it over with, boys.
The result was more and more speed.
Impressive beginning debut for
this also whetted the appetite to finally step up 100% into the open class, to wage battles with the big boys.
George Linder's latest design, constructed in composite wood and triaxial fiberglass, powered by 2 735 horsepower Mercruisers. Everything is right at the moment in the Maxin number 23.
This boat was constructed specifically to be a running plug and was never intended to be raced.
We're right at 100 miles an hour in the turn. Downwind, I guess we're pulling about 110 at the moment. We'll get another speed reading in a second as we make the turn.
But there's only so far you can push your luck.
They come out like a house of fire. And just like that, they slowed down. They're giving us a wave, but slowing down. Now, is he playing cat and mouse? Is he holding up for the rest of the fleet? What is going on? Timmy Chisuli gave us a quick wave. But boy, do they have a lead. And they pulled it in almost nothing flat. And to tell you the truth, I think the two Seahawks were running superbly. It isn't that the rest of the fleet was going slow, it's just the Maxon took off like a house of fire. And now we're on a very, very long leg.
This boat actually entered 2 more races and finally was retired and became a pleasure boat. The Cris Cat 370, well, it never materialized.
But congratulations on the Maxon Chris Craft team on a beautiful debut. Let's hope the rest of the season stays like this. Right now, they're all by themselves in the lead in the open class. And when I say all by themselves, I mean they are ahead by miles and miles and miles.
And then came this, the legendary Jesse James.
Past him, and they've been all alone ever since. We're doing 100 an hour in the helicopter, and we can't catch them. Airspeed in the helicopter, and we can't catch them. How fast is this thing? I ought to ask the builder.
The boat set records in its first 2 races and was far and away the fastest boat in offshore racing in the world in 1986.
Airspeed recording we've ever gotten on an offshore race boat from the helicopter. We were at 1 solid, and we could not catch the Jesse James. And if you notice right now, the boat is going by us.
The classified top speed was 132 miles an hour.
You're looking at an offshore boat at 100 miles an hour, and it could not be smoother. Right over a wake.
This was a combination of Mercury Marine's best engineering and the fastest hull design to date. The boat had speed, handling, and tremendous acceleration. And it handled most of the seas of the day.
We're, I think, 2 full laps into the race, and the Jesse James boat is really out in front. Look at the carry on the boat. She's very dry. Trimmed in just a little bit. Cris and Mark Laban.
Many things came together in this design. A superb builder in Ken Adams, a tremendous designer in George Linder, and a magnificent team in Mark and Cris Laban. The boat was almost bulletproof, built of fiberglass and plywood composite construction. It was light and strong, virtually indestructible.
When these guys got into open class, they were going to rewrite the rule book. It was going to be a much more aggressive type of racing. They've been very aggressive today. Sal Magluta responded to their challenge, to his credit, as I knew he would. And then he finally broke, and now the James guys have it to themselves. This is speed. The boat
I'm proud to say, is a Conquest 35-footer designed by George Linder. It's built of a composite of triaxial fiberglass and plywood. It is extremely strong. Don't let the speed fool you. There's a lot of strength in that boat. A lot of time and effort went into that composite. I know I was involved in it. We've had all kinds of tests with it. We've tested carbon fiber. We've tested the various fiberglass sandwich constructions that we use in the shadows. Some of the Cris craft technology was tested. Everything was tested, everything we tried. This is the strongest laminate we could find. It's good old aircraft plywood sandwiching triaxial fiberglass.
The boat featured a single step sponson and therein gave it 5 miles an hour minimum over the double step sponsons of the time.
The odds-on favorite here today is Mark Lavin and it's Jesse James. It's a APBA class open boat, been setting the world on fire, way over the record on the APBA courses, but having a problem getting across the finish line. What's going on, Mark?
Yeah, we've got the boat dialed in now. We've had 4 national races, which we've kind of burned up, unfortunately, getting the boat dialed in, and we've encountered a series of mechanical problems that Mercury has, heretofore not had to deal with. One of them is starboard side drive. Now 2 races in a row we've been leading, had a good lead and settled into an even pace with the boat and had the starboard drive blow up on us. So I think we're looking at something, a problem, perhaps a design flaw, either that or the way they rebuild the drives. With the speed, the horsepower, and the handling of this boat, I think we may be stressing some of the components beyond their design capability. So we're trying to deal with that. That's the reason we're here, to try and find out some of the problems with these things and stop doing it during national races.
Yeah, one of the prices you pay for going very, very fast is you find every component in the boat that can't take the speed. Today you got a drag race, and I think it's 70-miler. Are you going to be flat out the whole way?
Well, we have instructions from Mercury to run hard. They want to find out what's happening with these drives. I think in the 77 to 85 miles or whatever it is that we're running, I think the drive should hold up that distance. They've been characteristically falling apart at about 100 miles. So the idea is to run them hard, find out what's happening before they blow up. We'll pull them apart and take a look at the gearing and everything, and maybe we can find out where the problem's coming from. Once they break, it's hard to determine which part failed.
Okay, so we can look forward to Jesse James putting down some real hot laps today.
I think we'll go out reasonably conservative, try to make a race of it for a couple of laps, and then I think I really should try to run the boat at least for a few laps hard to find out what's going on with it.
Okay, this should be very, very interesting. This is going to be some race today, some blazing speed. Best of luck to
35 foot of Conquest Cat, powered by Mercruisers, 750 horsepower apiece. Electronic fuel injection, plenty of horsepower. Mark Lavin on the throttles, Cris Lavin on the wheel, and what more can you say? Jesse James.
And it was this boat and this development program that led to the Mercruiser's 6 drive. It was this boat that proved that the drives of the time were not up to the speed and the performance that the hulls were able to give them. The Jesse James, again raising the bar.
Dominic Columbi's out here in the water package, but I don't know if he knows where the checkpoint is. It can't be this far, do you think, Kurt? No.
Conquests came in all shapes and sizes. Each boat was built for the owner. No 2 Conquests were alike. Here's the 32-foot water package, which, while it was the same length as the Rolling Thunder, had a completely different forward entry and freeboard.
Yeah, they are turning around to something, and I don't think they know what either. Today we have Paul Palumbi, a familiar face with his water package. Paul and his father Dominic have been in the NPBA and the APBA for a number of years now and very, very competitive. Got a brand new boat, and it looks like it's all set. Is that right, Paul?
I hope so. I think it's set for this race here. We've had a lot of testing time done, and I feel that in this race in Greenwich, it's usually good competition. It will be a good test for a boat.
Water looks pretty calm out there, doesn't it?
They're calling for 2-footers right now. I heard 3 on the radio, but I would say it's about 2. It's going to be a cat race.
And you're set to go flat out?
I'm going to try to go flat out this race. We're going to handle, boat, like I said, was handling good yesterday, and I think it's going to handle good this race. It'll be a good test for it.
Okay, your competition today is?
Well, we have Triple Threat here. He's a regular APBA boat. We're running against the Apache, which I hear is very fast, and he can run through just about anything, and there's quite a few other boats here that I've seen.
Conquest sales were not only limited to the United States. Here's the French hull, Rocky.
Experiencing some early difficulties is a Rocky, Euromarche Rocky, Jean-Pierre Fruitier, in the roughest part of the course.
They've come clear over from France to race here in Key West. How do you like Key West?
We enjoy a lot, my father and I. This is the 5th time that we come, and but first time to race, and we are very happy to be here with all these boats, American boats, Italian boats, really great.
Who do you think are the top boats today for you to beat?
American boats?
All of them.
All of them. I think we've had a lot of very, very good boats like SR System, Spirit of America, but Luce for Italian and European boats, and Cougar as we have seen Tuesday, and I think we've got a chance to.
Okay, today you have conditions that are more like Europe. It's going to be rougher today than Tuesday by quite a bit. Do you feel good about that?
Yes, maybe if it's not too rough, we've got a chance. I hope we will be in first position, you know. But we have to consider the very, very fast speed of the other boats above all American boats.
Okay, do you prefer the rough water?
I beg your pardon?
You prefer the rough water?
No, we prefer flat water, very, very flat water, as we had in Cris in England when we won Costa Rica.
Okay. Today's strategy, do you intend to go all out, full throttle the whole race, or will you be more careful because it's rougher?
No, I don't think we won't be we will be careful a lot because it's a world championship. We have to go full throttle and to try to be first.
Okay, the World Championship is very, very important. You really want to bring that back to France, don't you?
Yes, because we never had a French world champion, and it will be a great thing to be world champion for France and above all for Offshore, because Offshore has a good chance to be very popular in France.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Would Jean-Pierre like to say something in French to any of the people back in France?
Si tu veux dire quelque chose en français?
Non, j'espère qu'aujourd'hui nous allons bien nous placer parce que les conditions peuvent nous le permettre.
Thank you very much. Merci.
This Conquest, which was originally What a Package, wound up having most of its success under the tutelage of John Carbona.
Very colorful and doing a lot better in this race than they did at Marathon so far. They're in about 7th place in Pro Stock. As they come into the chute part of the course. Well, the boat certainly is running very competitively. 85, 87, back up to 90. This crew did very, very well in the Stock A class for the last few years with the Panama Jack name. The sponsor and the crew have stepped up now into Pro Stock. They're getting their feet wet, sorting the boat out. There is some testing to be done with it. But they've made a quantum leap since the last race. The boat's a good 6 or 7 miles an hour faster since the last race. One more jump like that, and they'll be right up in the lead in Pro Stock.
The ultimate 32-foot Conquest was Gone Again, or Captain America.
It was built 4 years ago and has had one total race in its entire lifespan.
This was by far the fastest of the 32 Conquests and the most unique.
And so far, he seems to be enjoying himself. He's right there in the hunt for Pro Stock.
Rigged by Jerry Gilbreth, the boat had revolutionary designs both in rigging and in hull design.
The boat looks terrific right now. He's really eating up this chop off the ocean, off the coast here. And I think as he gets his feet wet in here, a little more confidence in the boat. He's never driven a cat before in competition. He's a V-bottom driver from way back. I think he's going to enjoy it.
And finally, the biggest conquest of all, the 48-foot Jesse James.
Brand new boat, shakedown run, carving through the fleet.
The boat featured custom drives, propellers, rudders, and a security cockpit that became the basis for the Laven Foundation. 4 engines, overhead cam, into custom transmissions, running down into a unique direct drive.
But man, so far she's
The package was conceived in the memory of Mark Lavin by his father, Mars. It was the fastest and safest offshore boat ever conceived.
Jesse James is back and riding high.
If Charles Marks is a happy man, this man next to me is a patient one. This is Cris Lavin, and finally she's in the water.
Yeah, 2.5 years and a lot of gray hairs. We think we finally got something that we can bring out and race and finish with.
The boat looks unique, to say the least, Cris.
Yeah, I'd say that's true. It's a Linder design Conquest, 48-foot Conquest Cat. It's got four valve engines into 2 transmissions into 2 drives, all turning 2 22 by 36-inch props.
And so the tale ends here. Following the death of Mark Lavin, the final 48-footer was a project in his memory. Both Lures and Linder became heavily involved in the Lavin Safety Foundation. Linder went on to a long period of time as an APBA competition director, and Lures continued doing offshore commentary on tapes just like these. But the development ended with the 48-foot Jesse James. There have been projects discussed, ideas bandied about, but the two have never come to the point yet where they might create something else, something different, something unique, something that raises the bar.
So that's our story, and we're sticking to it.
What do you want to do now?
I don't know. Let's get a beer.
Sounds good to me.
Come on.